Hello everyone. Before we begin, I would like to apologize ahead of time for any background noise that may occur, including my laptop's fan going off for no particular reason. That aside, I humbly welcome you to the first episode of Melodramatic Reading. Today's read will be a one-shot from FIM Fiction entitled I Love Ya to the Core by Disney Fanatic 23. Applejack did not know what was wrong with her. For the past few days, she had not had a wink of sleep. She would lie in bed all night, unable to enjoy the pleasures of dreamland. No matter how tired she was, her eyes would stay open. That was why she could not concentrate on her work. She kicked back her legs and lost her balance, not realizing that she was standing too far from the tree. After picking herself up, she moved closer and kicked the trunk weakly. It was only enough to shake one apple out of the tree, which just so happened to land on the cowgirl's head. "Ow!" she muttered with indifference. Her eyes were so weary and about to drift closed when the sound of the triangle alerted her. "Soup's on, kids!" Granny Smith called from the house. "Lunchtime!" Applejack groaned and slowly made her way down the hill. By the time she got there, the rest of the family had already started on the daisy sandwich.
"What took you so long?"
Apple Bloom asked before swallowing.
"You usually feed us to the grub." "I'm just a little slow today,"
Applejack mumbled, taking a seat at the table.
"Here you go, hon,"
Granny Smith exclaimed, handing her granddaughter a plate.
"Thank you, Granny, but I'm not hungry."
Big Macintosh had been drinking a glass of water and spat it out once he heard this. Apple Bloom nearly choked on her sandwich. Granny Smith let out a gasp.
"You're not hungry?" she repeated. "Are you sick or something? I'll go get the thermometer."
When the elderly pony returned, she found Applejack snoring to her food.
"Glan's sakes, has she been overworking again?"
Big Macintosh shook his head. "No."
"Not more than usual,"
Apple Bloom declared.
"Applejack!"
Granny Smith said, shaking the mare's shoulder.
"Wake up, hon!"
Applejack's head shot up.
"What? Huh? You were sleeping like a bear in hibernation. I don't know what you've been doing getting so tired, but you need to get up to this bed. It's instant, young filly."
The cowgirl reflected on her actions the past few days and nodded.
"I guess I have been working too hard. Good night, y'all."
Ironically, she did not sleep the minute she climbed into bed. Even after 2 hours of tossing and turning, she was still awake.
"What is wrong with me?"
she asked herself aloud. There was a on her bedroom door.
"Come in,"
she said wearily. As the door opened, Applejack slowly turned her head. Standing there was her dragon friend, Spike, holding a bowl in his claw. The sight of him brought a smile to her face, and she suddenly did not feel so groggy anymore.
"Hey, Applejack,"
he greeted.
"Howdy."
Applejack blushed at how loud that came out.
"Apple Bloom said you were sick," Twilight said, "so Spike suggested that we stop by."
The cowgirl had not noticed the unicorn until she spoke and felt guilty about it. "What do you have anyway?" Twilight inquired.
"Nothing really,"
Applejack explained.
"For some reason, I just can't get enough sleep."
"You've been overworking again, haven't you?"
"Why does every pony... No, I swear. In fact, I'm so dang tired, I can hardly bring myself to do any work. I just don't know what's wrong with me."
The unicorn used her magic to bring a book out of her saddlebag. Well, I brought a medical journal. Maybe we can figure out what's ailing you. She began turning the pages rapidly. What symptoms are you experiencing other than fatigue? Applejack took a moment to think about it.
My appetite's been lacking.
Anything else?
Sometimes I feel all awful, and then all fluttery the next minute.
Mood swings. Got it. Any more sickness or vomiting at all?
No.
Oh, thanks, Celestia! Twilight said in her breath. Any aches? Pains of any sort?
Sort of. In my chest and stomach.
Right. This might take a while. While Twilight was searching through her book, Spike lifted the bowl he had been carrying to Applejack's view. The bowl contained a thick orange liquid with apple slices laid out on top.
I made you some soup! Some apple soup!
Spike declared. Applejack sat up as the dragon placed the bowl on her lap.
I didn't know there was such a thing, she said. Well, since you like apples so much, I looked through the library's cookbooks and found a recipe for apple soup!
Wait. She looked at the dragon in panic.
You cooked?
Yeah. He watched her expectantly to eat the soup. Applejack only stared at it.
Oh,
Spike said with a blush. You probably need a spoon, don't ya? I'll be right back.
Well, it can't be pneumonia,
Twilight muttered. The dragon was true to his word and returned a few seconds later with a spoon! Applejack took it in her hoof and examined it closely, making sure it was not bent or spit on or anything. Then she looked back, down at the soup. She shuddered at the memory of last week when Spike had baked that pie. She had not tasted it herself, but Rarity's reaction could only make her imagine. What if eating the soup made her even sicker? There was also the fact that she was not hungry. On the other hoof, it was so sweet of Spike to make this soup for her, even taking the time to find a recipe. She was touched at the fact that he knew her favorite, even though it was so obvious to everyone. It should say every pony. Typo, it should say every pony. He had even gone to fetch a spoon for her, and in good condition too. The cheerful look in his bright green eyes and his caring smile pushed a decision. Hesitantly, Applejack took a spoonful of the soup and raised it to her lips. She closed her eyes, preparing for the worst. As she sipped it carefully, her eyes widened at the taste.
Spike, she breathed. This is delicious.
She then began ravenously scooping the contents of the bowl into her mouth. Spike grinned excitedly.
I knew you like it. Have you broken any ribs lately?
Twilight asked out of the blue. Nope, Applejack replied as she prepared to dump the entire bowl down her throat. She paused, remembering Spike was watching her. Suddenly, she became self-conscious and put the bowl down. She picked up the spoon again and ate. Slower.
It can't be a heart attack,
Twilight noted. You'd be dead by now. Spike gasped. Twilight, what a thing to say! Sorry, I'm just exploring all the things that could be causing these symptoms. The unicorn tilted her head when she noticed how much the soup Applejack had eaten. Hey, I thought you said you had lost your appetite. The cowgirl looked down at the almost empty bowl. She shrugged.
I guess it's back.
Twilight glanced back at the journal. Heart failure? No, that can't be it either.
It's really good, Spike,
Applejack said again, taking another sip.
What'd you put in there? Cinnamon?
Spike nodded.
Also some saffron and a pinch of paprika. I'm impressed. Considering what?
She bit her lip.
Nothing.
Applejack looked at the dragon strangely as he took her pillow out from behind her and started fluffing it.
What are you doing?
Just making sure your pillow more comfortable, Spike said, carefully putting the pillow back in place. Maybe the reason you can't sleep is because your bed feels like rocks. Here, let me test it for you, she yelled as he jumped onto the bed. She snatched her bowl so it would not spill. Spike lightly bounced on the mattress.
Applejack chuckled. I think the chances of an ordinary pony like me being a princess are as likely as a villain like Discord becoming a good guy. Right?
Spike snickered. Or maybe as likely as... He scoffed at his idea. If there was this alternate universe with all of us in it, but we were like some other creature, like penguins. The two laughed so hard, one of them was sure to bust a gut. Applejack could not remember the last time she had laughed like this. And Gina? Twilight wondered. No, I don't think so. Besides, Applejack said, wiping a tear,
don't you have to be an alicorn to be a princess? Imagine me with horns and wings.
Spike started giggling again as the cowgirl flapped her forelegs and spoke in a high-pitched voice.
Oh, look at me. I'm a pretty pony princess with pretty little wings and a magic horn.
The dragon bowed to her and spoke in a Camelot accent. What does Her Majesty wish of me? Applejack snorted and used a similar accent.
Oh, well, my hooves are so worn from walking. Could you give them a rub, peasant?
As you wish, my lady. He lifted the corner of the blanket and reached for her left hoof.
No, Spike, I was just...
But as soon as his claw made contact with her hoof, it acted as a shutdown button for the mare. She sunk into a pillow as he gently rubbed it. It reminded her of when he had scratched her back last week. She snapped out of the trance and pulled her hoof away. Seriously, Spike, I was just kidding. Spike blushed with embarrassment as he pulled down the covers back over her. Applejack suddenly regretted telling him to stop. Twilight slammed her book closed. Well, she declared, I have no idea what's ailing you. It could just be one of those bugs, Applejack suggested. I'm afraid the only advice I have for you is to try to get some sleep. Come on, Spike! The cowgirl's smile faded as the dragon hopped off the bed. You're leaving? You need your rest, Twilight explained, so we'll get out of your mane. Spike was about to follow the unicorn out the door when he paused. Oh, wait! He walked back to the bed and picked up the empty dish. His eyes met Applejack's, making the mare blush. By the way, he said, about last week, the dragon coat thing. He rubbed the back of his neck awkwardly. I made a big mess of things, didn't I? The mare grinned and patted his head. It's okay, sugar. We were just trying to help. Yes, but I don't know why I was so clumsy. I'm usually not like that. Just ask Twilight. I didn't mean to. Take it easy. I'm not mad at you. It's just one of those days. Spike smiled in thanks. Well, I hope you get better soon. See ya! When he closed the door behind him, Applejack felt a wave of sadness, but also pleasure. She found herself smiling like an idiot. Her chest no longer ached, but all was all warm inside. She fell back on the bed and grinned up at the ceiling. It did not take her too long for her to drift